Hi, Taurus. Things are changing. Things are moving. Mars, right behind you. Hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. I have so much to give you. I have so much to show you. There's so much to be had. If you don't want to be pregnant for the next 9 months, be careful this month, Taurus. If you would like to do really well with a project, finish it this month. If you would like something that you've been thinking about for a while to come to fruition in about a year, it'll take about a year to do whatever it is that you've been thinking about. Take that year starting now. Bottom of the deck, King of Pentacles. What a smooth, hey, here's a bunch of cards. All right, so here we go. 6 of Wands. Excuse me, like I said, marriage, fertility, success in love, it's there. Good luck, it's there. Lots of good luck. 8 of Swords and the Knight of Pentacles, finally walking away from a self-imposed prison. I like it. Fearful of something no longer, whatever it was. Doesn't have to be love related. Could be you were really worried about a family member. It could be you didn't think you were going to pass a certain class. Could be you thought something was going on at work, like against you or something, but it turns out it's fine. Queen of Wands, Knight of Cups, fire energy and water energy. So either of those people looking very interested in you, the Queen of Wands also being that maternal opportunity giver. Bottom of the deck, oh, first, 10 of Cups. So super, super positive in terms of love. And it's been a while since we've had a super positive reading in terms of love. Now, in terms of everything else, it looks like you've made some great changes when it comes to how you're thinking. So that's good. You do have a lot more movement here. So that's good. Slow, but still moving. You are moving towards something incredible. 10 of Cups. And then there is the King of Pentacles, the Tower, the Chariot, the Emperor, the Hermit, whoa, and the 3 of Swords, and then the Fool. Wow, so it's just like major, major, major cards. Okay, so this is kind of like your general and your extended and everything. I got it. The energy is what it is. So let's try that again. I don't know why I'm having so much trouble communicating right now. It's very confusing. I was fine. It's like a strange sort of nervousness that you guys have right now. You are scared of the speed and the abundance. You're afraid, which is why the Fool is at the bottom. It's like, don't be afraid, everything's okay. So, King of Pentacles and the Tower. Obviously, you and Uranus are going to get back into it this year. And even though it's gone for a little while, you can feel it and you know it's coming back. And I think you might actually like it because these shocks that Uranus brings, you're realizing put you that much more on your life path. So it doesn't have to just be a Cancerian energy. Of course it could, but it's about the Tower moments being really beneficial as resets to keep you authentic. And then there's Mars nipping at your heels, like I said, in Aries, doing its New Year's Aries thing, giving you a lot of, bless you, alhamdulillah. Are you cold? Baba, are you cold? No. Excuse me. So giving you a lot of energy also towards this same Chariot sort of truth. And then you have the Hermit, again, a card of finding your truth, a card of going within and figuring out not just what's true, but what's true about you, you know, beyond what people see and beyond what people can judge. I think that's what the nervousness comes from as well. It's like, you know, there's going to be so many lights shining, and there already are, and your own light is as well. And then, you know, Uranus is going to come in and make it even more shaky. But even from a distance right now, it's doing it. It's doing it. So the Hermit energy with the Emperor energy here, it's pretty obvious that when you start to feel that push, like you haven't done enough and you need to do more, and you could be also doing this, what you're doing is you're letting that Mars get to you. And the best way to curtail that is to know what the path is that the Chariot is on, to believe in it, to let Uranus give you the bumper car moments to keep you where you need to go, and trust that direction. And so when the Emperor energy gives you the speed, you can only go in that direction that you believe in. And how do you find that direction? The Hermit is a really beneficial process to undergo. Just taking a few days, taking a few weeks of not sharing too much, and not because you're closed off and you don't want to feel anything. No, you're being very honest with yourself. You're journaling, you're meditating, you're praying, you're working out, you're, you know, doing all the things to show your internal self, but also show the larger universe that you need some answers, and you need a let's say calmer vessel to get those answers. So the Hermit is a good idea. And especially if, because of an Aries or because of a Cancer, because of another earth sign, specifically maybe a Virgo, you're feeling like your heart is being shred, well, the Fool with the Three of Swords is an interesting combination, because it's really the cards being a little bit heartless by saying, you know, it's the best thing that could have happened to you to have the opportunity to even walk away. So just be grateful, take that opportunity, and, you know, say thank you and go along. Because whatever it is that the Three of Swords moment is about, it's all in the past is the point, and the Fool is the present and the future, and that's where Taurus needs to shift the mind now. Capricorn season is like, come on, Taurus, the present and the future, like, let's go. And the only card up here from the past is the Eight of Swords, and you're so obviously, that between the two horses, you're so obviously getting over it. And you know, it always takes, I always say this about you guys, it takes the time it takes. And it's taken the time it had to take, and you genuinely feel better, and you're just kind of moving. So good. So you're moving. The Queen of Wands energy, this fire energy. If there's someone pushing you, someone who wants you to very much get into a relationship, very much wants to have kids, very much wants to get married, very much wants to settle down, I feel like you are a lot more receptive to it than you have been in the past. And you may perhaps, underneath all the hemming and hawing, you may actually be on the same page. And then the Knight of Cups is someone offering you that love, or you offering them that love. And it's really the Ten of Cups, the next card there, is really like a very happy union. Two people who really want to be together. And maybe it just took you a little bit longer to wake up and see it, which is fine, you know. And then the the King of Pentacles, and the Tower and the Chariot. So if you look at it in the context of the cards above, it really does give you this sense of a lot of movement. You have the two horses and then the horse in the middle. And then all this movement with the Tower, and all this movement with the Chariot, and all this movement with the Fool. And we know the Emperor is all about movement. And then this point of stillness with the Hermit and the Three of Swords. So the other point of stillness being the Eight of Swords. perhaps it is important now to create a new way of being alone and still that isn't sad. Perhaps being alone and still and contemplative, not running from what you feel or what you think, still being contemplative, but doing it without a tinge of sorrow, sadness, depression, loneliness, and instead really using it as a time to cultivate self and to learn what you can only learn when you can face yourself in the quiet and the still and not constantly be distracting yourself, and face the thoughts that come up and the fears that come up and the worries that come up, and not giving into them and not letting anxiety become the thing that then distracts you from being alone with yourself, because that is also a distraction. That kind of alone time can be, I feel, a bit difficult for Taurus. You can find a lot of very sensual, earthly ways to distract yourself, and there's nothing wrong with that. But right now, I think you need to create some points of stillness. If you're not already in a healthy routine of doing so, you need to create those moments and that routine of stillness, because the way these changes are happening, they're big, they're bold, they're fast, and for a lot of you, they may be too much, even though they're great. Your nerves can get fried. And if your nerves get fried, you're going to be mean. And if you're mean, things start to fall apart quickly around you guys, because when you're mean, you're too mean. So we want to damage control, right, where we can. And so if you know you have a lot of movement, a lot of changes, you like just moving all over the place, we know you need some quiet stillness. But when you go in that stillness, you've got this 8 of Swords energy, you've got this 3 of Swords energy, because maybe that's the only way you know how to be still. And that's okay, no judgment. A lot of us are like that or have been. But here you have a moment of awareness in January where you're like, wait a minute, I can be alone and really think about myself. I can be alone and be really successful. I can be alone and take huge risks that will bring me even more of what I want, which is fiscal freedom at its core, and then everything from there on. Very positive and also very honest. And I think that's something to be noted. Capricorn season is very honest because it has to be. If you make up stories to make people feel better and tell white lies when it's going to be below 0 outside, you might get some people killed. It's just not the time for embellishments, really. And I think that you guys do really well with that energy. I think that you within yourselves have that same drive of truth. And so Capricorn season can be one of those times where you feel like, you know, saying what you need to say and perhaps using those horns a little bit. And I think you should, especially if it is in defense of your peace of mind not turning into the 8 of Swords. Defend your peace, because it will be your point of stillness that makes all this good stuff that's coming worth it. Without that stillness, you will start to unravel from the just general stress. Nothing really like, you know, the Tower moment here is more just little things that are happening, little electric shocks here and there. But if you're not constantly rejuvenating, sleeping, eating, you know, doing all of, then those little shocks will build up and you'll pass out. So 2019 is a year of growth, a year of movement, a year of love, deep love, perhaps marriage, perhaps children, and also a lot of sudden, really cool, interesting lessons to be learned. Of course, there is an indication of heartbreak here. So if you're watching for love, and there goes the card. So if you're watching for love, you know, it's trying to run away, but it is there. And of course, there's always that risk. But I think the Fool card is there to say, even though there's always that risk, we must take the risk. because it's the only one worth taking. Now, if you're also feeling like, for some of you, the happy family thing already happened, and now for some reason or other that's breaking apart and you need to leave the situation that you're in, just know that it suits your life path better to do this, even though it's very traumatic and you wish it wasn't happening. It is ultimately in the best interest of what is good for you. And although you will take the time you need and people will help you, you can feel really upset by it, but you will quickly turn it around and prevail and turn it into something very positive. If you are a Taurus that is with a fire sign who is like very powerful, you're feeling even more of the love, Knight of Cups, and that 10 of Cups, like love, marriage, all of that. You're getting really into it. For some of you, you may find that this Knight of Cups and the Queen of Wands, it's too much for you to handle. There's one too many people in this equation, and that's the ensuing Tower moment. So cross-watching is difficult for this one because it really does depend on what's been going on for the past 6 years or so. So if you've just been diligently working, ignoring the fact that in certain areas life was just running dry and you've just persevered and pushed through, as many Tauruses do, you're coming into a time of great abundance. But if you've been living this second life that people don't know about, and you've kind of built and staked your reputation on being like this really genuine, open person, and you're not, that can start to show itself. Because again, the Chariot, the Emperor, the Hermit, the Fool, it's all about who you really are. And whatever that real you, that you may often be frustrated, like, I wish people really got me, or I really understood me. Now they're going to get to see who you really are. And that's why the Fool is like, come on, just like, people are going to see who you are anyway, just be who you are. And as funny and simple as that is, maybe a lot of you need that permission, and you get it in January. And I think you get it in 2019. And it's very positive. It's very good for you. It's expansive, and I know that's a bit scary, but you know, the next 10 years, if you handle this fire, Queen of Wands and Knight of Cups energy right, it can be very, very, very lucrative. There's a little bit of navigating you're going to have to do here. Let's look at these cards together, and I'll show you. And then we'll clarify everything, like shuffle through and clarify everything in the extendeds. Everything else is on Vimeo, but there's also subscriptions now. So you can go to another page. There'll be a link here below. You could go to another Vimeo page and you can subscribe for the same price as the extended, but it's like a per month thing where they'll just send you the reading every month, the extended. So that's an option now. I know a lot of people wanted to give those as gifts for Christmas and stuff. So yay, you can do that now. And you can book a reading every Friday on Chatelize. I know it's a little bit much to have to open an account with them and do everything, but the cool thing about Chatelize is that you deal with them, you schedule with them, you pay them. If you only got half your time because of technical difficulties, or you weren't able to make your appointment or something else, they refund you right away. It has nothing to do with me in any way administratively, which is amazing. So it's been going super well. I love it. So Chatelize every Friday, and the readings usually book up by Thursday. So keep that in mind. And around the new moon and the full moon, they're usually booked like way in advance. So there's that. And there will be a guided meditation up on Vimeo for Capricorn season. I would just like to do all the signs before I do that. That way I know all the things to include. Okay. This is such a Taurus look. I'm so cozy, comfy, earth tone, but like, yeah, I loves your energy, and I loves where you guys are at. And, you know, growth is really exciting. And you deserve Yeah, you deserve it. Good. All right, I'll see you in a moment. Hi, Taurus. So I'm finally getting a new camera. Just can't do it with the computer anymore. Let's see how much the camera will freeze. I'll do that when until I get back to New York. So, do you see the horses there? You see this? And here you are in the midst of all this movement, success, love, invitation, and yet there is, let's say, a leftover habitual sort of worry. That's what I mean about changing that pattern of how you feel when you're alone. The love is growing with the fire sign, even if you don't feel it quite yet. But they're all the way in. This makes it difficult for those of you who feel like your life path takes you in a different direction. If it's a fellow earth sign or a Cancer, it also looks like it's pretty difficult at the moment. But Cancers are exhibiting a lot of uncharacteristic behavior, which is a mischaracterization in and of itself because they're actually coming more into themselves. The reason it seems uncharacteristic is because they haven't really known themselves quite yet, not the way they're learning now, and the way they will continue to learn over the next year or so. So they might not be the ideal match for you in terms of anything right now because their lives are moving even faster than yours, which is why if you find yourself in some way, work, school, business, friend wise, engaging with a Cancer, it can be really rocky right now because you're both hitting these fast strides and neither one of you are quite built for it. Although a bull will, when it picks up speed and begins to charge, go very fast. And the Chariot, we know, is associated with speed. So stubborn, slow to get moving, and hard to stop when momentum is gained. That could cause a tower moment if two people were revving at each other that way. I can see that. If you need some advice on how to deal with the Cancer in your life, the best thing I can tell you is to give them space. Right now, they're going to reach out to who they need, and anything outside of that, I don't think is necessary for them. I think you should probably leave them alone. If you feel like there is a lingering heartache with either an Aries or a Virgo, they're feeling it quite a lot too. But you, again, uncharacteristic this time for you, have this bravery where you just really, really sincerely want to move forward. And I think that's what the horses are about. You have something more that you want, something you like better than thinking about the past. And there are probably not many things that make it on that list. Communicate as openly as you can because you see the same guy here, this guy, see that guy there, the Sphinx, and then here you're communicating this strength, this independence, this self-reliance. It will open up your money and business life in a way that's hard to explain. It's just something about you. It's your energy. And it will persist, for a good 10 years. You know the way I would put this? You have 10 years to speak what you want into existence. This month, what are you saying? Because if you speak from a place of boldly courageously going and asking for and speaking into the Wheel of Fortune what exactly you want, the next 10 years, you will reap the harvest of that, whatever order you put in. That's the time you're at. And we knew that already, that there's this cycle coming up for you. So is it love and work? Well, yes, but I think this is just like a mini encapsulated reading of all this. This is what's really going on. It's the most important part. Now, let's do what I'm going to start calling, thanks to the Rev Fam on Twitter, the Scalding Hot Tea segment. Okay, we're going to start calling it that because I can't do these, long explanations, these rambling preambles about how I'm going to have a different tone, and I'm sorry if it hurts your feelings and all that. So let me just do it this one time, but next time you hear this, it's just going to be, okay, now we're going to do the Scalding Hot Tea segment. So this is for anyone who is cross-watching. Now, the thing is, I'm in that Taurus energy right now. I'm not really doing your reading, so it's really hard for me to take your feelings into account when I'm trying to look at things, or when not trying, but am looking at things from a Taurian perspective. So I can tell you a few things, but you may not like the delivery and you may find it a bit harsh. I apologize in advance. Maybe you don't want to listen to this part, which is totally fine. Okay, so for those of you who are in love with a Taurus, ghosted by a Taurus, want to hang out with a Taurus, you don't understand what's going on in a relationship with a Taurus and they're driving you crazy, or however you have found yourself here, just looking for insight into your partner. Your partner is doing well, but they are consumed. They're a little unsteady on their feet, and that's weird for them. They're also unsteady in their heart, and that's even weirder. Both are happening because of expansion. A bull that's flying is a scared bull, no matter how majestic it seems. A bull that wants to get married is a scared bull, no matter how committed it seems. So they're not going to tell you they're scared. They don't even know how. They probably don't know themselves that they are. And what it requires from you now is a level of patience that I'm not sure that you're capable of, even as a Virgo, even as a Cancer. We know you don't have any patience. So what do you do? Well, my advice here is the same, alas, that it will always be when it comes to Taurus. Taurus is really good at getting what they want. That you can be sure of. So when you're dealing with a character who's really good at getting what they want, really it becomes very easy for you. You don't have to try. Because if a Taurus wants you, they'll come get you. Simple. And so if you find yourself in a situation where you feel like they're just not responding to you, could it be because they're going through something and they're letting some stuff go? Sure. Could it be because some stuff is changing for them and it's bigger than they can explain to you? Sure. But could it just be that they're not interested? Because there are things going on where they're being set up and they're just looking at everything differently and they want more. And that's not an insult to you, but they just want more in general. Their eyes are being open to things, and Uranus is going to spend the next very long while opening their eyes over and over again. And they instinctively know that this is probably not the time to be hitched. So anyone who's bothering them right now really is taking on this energy right here. The Fool is not worried about anyone who's nipping at their heels, so don't nip at their heels. Leave them alone. But that means that I'll be really hurt, and I am really hurt. Okay, well, they know you're really hurt. If they're watching their own reading, they know that you're really hurt. And that should tell you something. So if a Taurus knows that they hurt your feelings and they don't reach out to you and they don't seem to care, it's because they really don't care. And if they really don't care, regardless of their sign, they're a jerk. Okay. Now, if you're a Taurus who's watching just for money, or you're in an established long-term relationship and you really don't care about all the love stuff and you're just thinking, how's it going to be for the next month? Well, you're going to have this restless leg syndrome thing. You're just going to want to run, run, run. You got nowhere really to go. So give yourself some stuff to go to. Plan some stuff. Go to some parties. Meet up with friends. Have some dinners. Have some people over. Cook for them. Do some strengthening your bond stuff with your partner. It's a fun time to do that. There might be some stuff coming up where you're going to have to deal with, maybe an older family member in some way, maybe some legal stuff. But it seems like you have a pretty good support system when it comes to all that, so I wouldn't worry too much about it. If you've got older kids, either the Aries or the Virgo seems to be really going through something. I would say probably the Virgo's going through it, and the Aries is going through it and doesn't know it. So much like you in that way. Reach out to either one. If you yourself, irrespective of why you're here, if you are feeling super lost, I can see that. And if you feel like this is not the time to be brave about anything, I can see that too. But you also have to remember these readings tend to resonate towards the end of the month. So right now, you kind of just gotta go on the fact that you don't feel so hot, but you also know that things change all the time. And that's what's kind of bugging you out anyways, that things change all the time. Because the reality is you really like all the good stuff that's going on. But it's just things are changing all the time, and they're changing really, really fast. And I don't think that you guys are the type that are taught to be that vulnerable and soft. You're not allowed to say, hey, this is all really good, but it's just moving too fast. And I'm delicate, I don't think bulls are allowed to say they're delicate, even though you are. You really are. And that's okay. Okay, it's just moving too fast, and you're a slow animal. It's all right. But the good stuff is going to come, and we know it's going to come. So let's be a little bit smart about it and say what we want into this void now to get your next 10 years set up. And then you can start mediating the pace. For now, don't get derailed by the speed. Don't get derailed by it being uncomfortable. Don't get derailed by feeling insecure and like, oh, life is changing. Is this really me, or is this going to last, or what's it? Be brave. All right? In the extended, we'll just go through line by line and clarify, shuffle and clarify each line. All right? Loves yous. So the muches. Loves you so the muches. Bye. Happy New Year.